Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
We are in the 10th. And a line drive base hit over LeMayeux's head. Here comes Lau. Throw to the plate. Rays win. Rays win it in 10 at 8-7 final. As Paredes got that ball into right. And the Rays, who scored 5 times in the 6th inning. What a comeback win this is for the Rays.
No question about it. What a win for Tampa Bay yesterday. Their biggest comeback from 6 runs down since a 7-run comeback since game 162. I think we remember that well. And guess who that was against? The New York Yankees. How about that? What a game. What a weekend at Tropicana Field, except for Saturday, Nick's birthday, the only game he went to. He's the curse. We definitely know that. What a weekend. This is what Rays baseball has become. This magical season that just continues to be nothing but magic, continues as Zach Brady walks it off. I've seen teams like this before, even early in the season, where everything seems to go right for them. And, usually more times than not, it continues to go right for them. They got some juju going right now. Even though the injuries continue to pile up for your Tampa Bay Rays, they are still 10 games up on the Yankees, off to the best start since the 1984 Tigers. And maybe this team just maybe can go wire to wire like that team did. They've got some firepower coming back in Tyler Glass now soon. Hopefully Pete Fairbanks will be back. This is a team that's still doing it without a lot of their best pitchers in the lineup, and that's incredible. Imagine if Jeffrey Springs was still around. I mean, imagine if Tyler Glasnow was pitching on this rotation from day one. Maybe they wouldn't have lost the game yet. So the best could be yet to come for this team. That's the scary part. That's the scary part. And as we've said from the very beginning, 3 games with the Yanks, but guess what? It's 14 with the Yanks. This balanced schedule already made the Rays 10 games better before they even started the season. Look at every team in the East is over 500, I believe, still. So, and they're going to be good baseball teams the whole way. You want to play a disproportionate number of games with them? Not anymore. Not anymore. And you see what the Rays do to these weak sisters. So they are rolling. That was obviously an emotional series. And it seems like the bigger the game, the bigger the moment, the better the Rays play. And that's good news as well. So when you look at postseason type environments, which we've kind of seen a few at Tropicana Field already this year, what has the Rays done? They've thrived in them. They've thrived in those moments. So the louder it gets, the tighter the situation, the better they play because they're loose. They're playing with house money, and they're as talented as any team in this league. They can beat you so many ways, as we saw yesterday with the long ball, with the speed, with Siri. It's just and soon they'll be beating teams with starting pitching, which they really haven't even unleashed yet. So it's a great day to be a Rays fan, and I guess as well. 32,000 fans there yesterday with the upper deck open. Phenomenal. Nick, you were there on Saturday, unfortunately. But what a great weekend.
I don't think I'm a curse, though, because most of the games I've gone to over the last few years have been against the Red Sox. And because the Rays have a winning streak against the Red Sox that goes back like 13 games or something at home, I've seen nothing but wins. So that was almost an outlier, honestly, the other night. And it looked like they were going to hold on to that when they had a 2-0 lead through 8 innings. not much going on. But regardless, it was just I like being in good atmospheres. And I've been to 3 Rays games this year, opening day, that Thursday game that we went to against the Sox, and now Saturday
Tremendous.
against the Yankees. And the lightest crowd that I've been involved in those 3 was the one we went to. That was 22,000 on a Thursday
Wow.
afternoon.
Wow.
So I like being in good environments, and I can say that the environment check it's definitely checked off every single time I've been there, which was cool to see. Still too many Yankee fans for my liking. I told you on Saturday it was probably like 70-30. It felt like Yankee fans to Rays fans. I sat in a section where I was the only Rays fan in there, and I just had
That
to
sucks.
I
That
had to be
sucks.
around a bunch of New York people, and you know how they get sometimes. So
Yeah.
no real issues to report there, but regardless, I like seeing the place full. 32,000 people on a Sunday afternoon. I mean, when was the last time we had a crowd like that? It's got to be like a decade ago at least.
I think they said they had 40,000 in 2016. Must have
There
been
you
some
go.
type of giveaway or
8 years. There you go.
yeah, it's been, but even before that, I mean, it just doesn't happen, and a lot of these games, many of these games have been on the weekend, and the Rays have really never had a hard time drawing on the weekend, but even now it's 10,000 plus more than it used to be. So it's great to see. To me, it doesn't, when you look at it as a larger discussion, does this mean St. Petersburg is a better place for the team? No, it does not, because of one hot streak in terms of baseball and one hot streak in terms of attendance. We have 25 years of evidence to go on that it's a failed location. So let's don't be fooled. And plus, the Lightning are out of the playoffs. Normally, the Lightning are well into June, and that always makes the Rays second fiddle for those games, because you'll have Saturday and Sunday, sometimes Friday and Sunday games in hockey. So we pump the brakes on all that talk. But this is it's tremendous to watch. It's fun to see it. I mean, again, we talked about the prices last week, that some of the prices, $50, $60 for upper deck seats that they opened up this week would bring in more Yankees fans than it would Rays fans, because a lot of the Rays fans have already bought their $10 tickets for other things, for the rest of the year, and they just can't afford those tickets. So you're going to price your team out, and I'm not a big fan of that. But if it was 70-30 on Saturday, I felt it was more 50-50 in the other games that I watched. What do you think?
Yeah, at least yesterday, it felt like there was more of a roar from the Rays crowd. And that's really all I'm going off of. The Rays only scored 2 runs on Saturday, and there was a lot of, no action for about 7 innings after that.
Right.
But when the Yankees started getting it going, it definitely felt like the Yankee part of that crowd came out big time. The "Let's Go Yankee" chant was deafening. Interestingly enough,
That sucks.
what was funny to me was Aaron Hicks. Every time he came up to the plate, boo from every Yankee fan. Aaron Hicks, when he came to the plate, can't stand the dude, to the point where, like, the Yankees, like, remember when they went on that run in the 8th inning and got 3 runs, and they were, like, red hot at the plate,
Yeah.
and they were all excited, and then they all realized that Aaron Hicks was coming to the plate, and all the Yankee fans are like, "Oh, come on." Like, they just knew that right then and there the rally was over, and, of course, I think he grounded out or whatever, so
I love it when they eat their own. That's my favorite part.
they're still booing their own players, which is
Yeah.
fair. I don't know why he was in the lineup 2 out of 3 games. They took
For
Babe.
Boston, Philly, and New York teams, when they start to eat their own, it is the absolute best. It is the best.
It was great, though. You get 2 out of 3. Like you said at the top, this was an emotional series, and it kind of started on Friday with Randy Arozarena, who, again, flair for the dramatics. How can you the Rays are in a movie right now.
I know.
The first Randy Land game, and he decides to hit one, again, a really good pitch, by the way, and he continues
Yes.
he continues to just spray it all over the field, and he hits one over there, and I would have said in the Rays tank, but we have the net now.
I
So
know.
not
Spoiled the whole
quite.
damn thing, Peter. We hate you.
Not
That would have been splash in the Rays tank.
fucking perfect.
Beer for everybody. They could have put cerveza in the Rays tank instead of water. Let the Rays get drunk or take them out. Let everybody else jump in. Cerveza, Mas Cinco de Mayo. That's what I would have done. Splash that stuff in there. That would have been fun.
It
But,
would have been, but
come on.
it still works. And then he does, his signature pose as he gets to third base, and he stared into the dugout. We talked about the line, right? Where it's going too far. I don't know where I necessarily land on that. I didn't know about that till after the game, because I was just like,
staring into the dugout.
yeah, I was like, man,
Yeah.
because he got plunked the next 2 times, and I'm just like, oh, these guys are salty, man. These
Yeah, they
freaking
are.
Yankees are a bunch of you-know-what, so they just can't take it right now.
And then Cash got tossed, and he should have been tossed because that's the. How do you not do a warning after the first plunking? How do you not do a warning? I mean, that's when the warning should go out. You don't let him get another freebie because
Yeah.
the Yankees are probably laughing. Oh, we didn't even get the warning. Good, we'll hit him again.
And then you know what bothers me
What
later
are
in
we
that
doing?
game? Later in that game, I think it might have been I forgot who was on the mound. It might have been Kevin Kelly or something like that. A slider gets away from him and he hits a batter. And there's
Yeah.
Josh Donaldson in the dugout, like laughing.
Threw it
and
behind him.
falling
He
back.
threw it. He threw it so far behind him it wasn't even close because the ball obviously slipped out of his fingers. And then Josh Donaldson's going, "Ooh,
That dude's the
let's put him
most
out."
unlikable player I think I've
Oh
come
my
across
God.
in MLB.
Unlikable human.
He's always on the injured list. He's stealing like $30 million from the Yankees right now, and he's gonna just start jawing over there in the dugout.
He's the Jackson Mahomes of baseball. Nobody
Facts.
likes him.
That's big facts.
Nobody likes him. He's just awful. But I mean, how does the umpire not give the warning? I mean, it was plain as day what they were doing because they got a little butt hurt because Randy hit it into Randy land and everybody had a great celebration and got free beer. Yankees get a little butt hurt, so now we're going to start throwing at people. Why do they always do this? That's all. That's the only thing in your playbook, Aaron Boone. And last time you did it, what happened? We went yard on you and took you out of the playoffs. Yeah, when Chapman threw at our heads. And here you go again. You get a little butt hurt because and by the way, wasn't Randy doing that with his third base coach? He wasn't doing it into the dugout. Shut up. God, you guys are you get so butt hurt over the stupidest stuff. My God. And I'm so glad Cash got ejected there because that is so ridiculously bad umpire. By the way, the umpires all weekend long, awful. Just awful. Everything he did. Awful.
Can we? By the way, I've come around to this. Can we get the robo umps like yesterday?
I know. I'm done with these guys.
I'm done with it. I'm done with it. Like yesterday in the game, it's like every Yandy Diaz at bat. It started with the first at bat he had. He was getting squeezed all day by that ump, and I'm just like waiting for Yandy. I mean, he almost got ejected the first time. Cash had to come get him. Right. I was waiting for it like in his third at bat or something where he just he got called strike 3 and it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting for him to like raise hell. I saw Harold got squeezed a few times. Blau did. I'm like, man, robo umps, please. I'm all for the robo umps now.
Well, you can squeeze the pitcher, but you can't squeeze the batter. They're just expanding the strike zone. Everything's a freaking strike. Expanding it. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, especially when Yandy he knows the strike zone. He's got it pretty well down.
Yeah.
And when we got our little box, and you're like 6-8 inches out the box, like consistently. I honestly, the umps have never been this bad. I think now they probably just said, you know what, F it. You want robo umps? Fine. You guys call it. We'll just sit back here and collect our money. I think they're trying to screw it up. That's my guess now because they always act that way. Remember when replay came in, they tried to make it as bad as they could possibly make it because they didn't like it, right? Because it was going to show them up and show how wrong they are all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Then they had to get in line or get fired from their cushy job.
By the way, I did like Cash's response to that on Friday. I don't know if you saw his quote, but he was like, what was the conversation like with the umpire there when he got tossed? And he was like, he told me that half of the umpiring crew thought that it wasn't a big deal or whatever. And I told him, I said, I don't give a shit what half the umpiring crew thought.
Exactly. Like, what do we do? We taking the votes now? I mean, it was,
exactly.
By the way, are half of them Yankee fans? I don't know. How could you not think? I mean, know the room, read the room a little bit, read the room. Like there's a promotion going on. People are going bananas. It's the Yankees. They get butthurt about anything. I mean, how could you not know they were going to throw at Randy Arozarena? I mean, Aaron Boone could have put up a placard, like they call the plays on the sideline for hit him. We didn't need to see that. We knew what was going on, and you don't warn on the first one.
And by the way, where he hit him, by the way, it's not like he hit him in the butt or anything or in the thigh. He hit him right there in the rib with 95.
Yeah,
like there's definitely intent on that pitch. You can't.
Both of them were. I don't care if the other one was spinning; it was tight. It's obvious. It's obvious what was going on. Come on, it's crazy. All right, let's get some of these comments in here because I want to get a real feel for what the fans think about what they saw this weekend because that was magical to watch that. That's the way baseball should be, folks. With packed houses, people having fun, Randy Land, home run. I was actually watching in a bar in Orlando. or what? And I said, I was like telling a couple people at the bar, like, hey, if Randy hits a home run in this game, I mean, I know it's far fetched, but everybody gets free surveys. I'm like, that's so cool. And then he hit the home run and it was like, no freaking way. I mean, that place was going bonkers. I'm like that. I said, I cannot, this is such a magical year. And then they walk it off on Sunday, coming back from 6 runs down. I mean, we kind of even lost that part of that. I mean, that's against Garrett Cole, who was 29-0 as a Yankee with the lead, and then it's like 97-0 in his career with a 6-run lead.
Yeah, 5 when he gets 5+ runs of support. And Ryan Bass tweeted this after the Yankees went up 6-0. He was 79-0.
79-0
in his career. Well, he's 79-1 now. He's 79. That's what these Rays do. They break records. They end your records. And like you said, this is so special right now. And it's like now we have like such a large sample, or not a large sample size, but a good amount, 35
it's enough
to go off of.
Yeah.
By the way, have we started playing the real teams yet? I just don't know. Because I was talking about this whole thing with the schedule of May and everything. And what are the Rays right now? 5-1 in the month of May.
Yeah,
against the real teams, right? So we can put all these narratives to bed. This is the best team in Major League Baseball, and right now it's not close. It's not close at the moment.
No, and it's not just it's not just like they're winning 1-run games, although every game this weekend was a 1-run game. Their differential is historic. It's historic. The ranking number 1 in pitching and hitting for most of the year. It's historic. Number 1 in home runs. It's historic. Everything they've done is historic. And unless the entire team gets hurt, I mean, they have a great opportunity to continue to set records. If you look at every team that started this hot, 4 have won the World Series, 5 have won their league championship. It's just, this is in baseball, this is a huge sample size. It's big enough to know that this is not luck. This is not the luck of the schedule. It's not any of that stuff. And by the way, they play plenty. Now that we look at all the teams' records right now, they played plenty of good teams that are over 500. So
look at by the way too, the Rays have their fair share of injuries right now. Maybe their injury list is not as long as the Yankees, but again, given what happened last year, I got no sympathy. Look at the difference in the two teams when you have injuries to their lineup. The Yankees have scored the least amount of runs in MLB. Maybe that's changed after scoring 7 runs yesterday. But I believe they had the least amount of runs scored in the 10 games that Aaron Judge has gone down in MLB. So you take one guy out of their lineup and they're rendered completely nothing, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who the Rays have in their lineup. They change it every single day and they continue to put runs up. Like roster construction wise, the Yankees got to play Jake Bauers. I didn't even know he was a Yankee until this weekend. Jake Bauers, who had a rough time in the outfield, by the way, all week. My goodness.
Yeah.
Aaron Hicks has to play every day. Willie Calhoun hitting in the 5th hole. Who are you? Like roster construction wise, like the Rays have so much depth right now that doesn't matter who they put in. Like I know they're going to get contributions from everybody. So again, this front office that we were kind of like, what's going on in the off season, right?
Right.
They clearly they were onto something.
Yeah, just leave it alone. And guys will go from hitting 190 to 327. Happens all the time.
Yeah. And to the point that Jeremy Lowe made right here, he said, the guys who were big yesterday were Jose Siri and Christian Bethancourt. And those were the 2 guys they got last year at the deadline that were 2 very underrated moves. Yes. And I don't know if the Rays are where they are without those dudes. They certainly don't win yesterday without them.
That's for sure. Let's throw up some of the other comments here. RJ, Jeremy, as you say, game underrated moves with Siri and Bethancourt. They were, and they were good last year too. Remember, they came right in, and they were really good. This from Lonnie Wilkins. Yankees must know that Randy would kick their asses in drop parking lot afterwards. Yeah, if you think he does it to his teammate, you don't think he's going to do it to you guys? I would go easy on that if I were you. I guess that's why everybody was astonished. Wasn't it funny how part of the narrative after the game was, isn't it great that Randy kept his cool? Did you hear that? It's like there are questions like
I did, yeah.
His computer was so good. Yeah, I mean,
well, I wanted to know where that bat.
No, it's Randy.
I wanted to know where that bat was going to end up if that ump didn't step in.
Okay. I lost you there for a second. Yeah. Maybe.
I know. I wanted to know where that bat was.
I don't know,
going,
but
'cause it looked like he was going to stick it into the ground, but I'm not so sure before that got in there. So maybe I think he was going to lose that composure just a little bit there, which I wouldn't have blamed him, by the way, for that.
no, hell no. Hell no. It was clear. It's clear as day they did it the first time, and then allow him to do it the second time is just ridiculous. That should have been an automatic ejection. All right, so let's relive some of the great highlights from yesterday. The Rays are down 6-0, like right out of the gate, and then they come and Cole is just mowing them down like he did. And Siri said, "Listen, we watched that he was using the same pitching sequence as he did the first time around. So he's like, all right, well, I should be expecting a fastball coming at me this first time. So here's what he did with it."
Siri shoots this one high and deep to straightaway center. Bader's going to go to the wall, and that baby is gone. Home run number 3 for Jose Siri.
That's from Valley Sports Sun. And I think Dwayne, I don't think he thought that one was going out. I think he was a little surprised that one carried out. And of course, that got the whole conga line going. And Bethencourt comes up with 2 outs, I believe, and a couple on, and they're down 3. And this was it was interesting because Cole's stuff was so good early on, and this was a flat. And clearly, he was looking curveball, and he left it out over the middle of the plate, and Bethencourt did not miss it. Well, I did not hear that for some reason, Nick, but I hope everybody else did.
Can you hear me right now?
I got you. I did not hear that.
I'm a bit frozen right now, so I'm trying to figure myself out. So
okay. Well, we'll just talk about Bethencourt and what a great addition he's been. I think that's 5 home runs him now. I think the Rays have 9 players with 5 or more home runs leads the major league. So listen, everybody is contributing, and that's a guy that the Rays went out and scouted and was like, this guy is just. He's got too much talent. And he was an interesting story. I think he used to be a pitcher, turned him into a catcher, and he's obviously big enough to use those physical skills for power. And he's just become really a good catcher and a damn good power hitter at this point. Everybody's saying they didn't hear that second call. So something's going on with the Wi-Fi there, but we'll get it all fixed out. Should we try to play another highlight here or just go right to Cash? What do you think? You're all frozen. Tell you what, let's take a break. I hope Nick can hear me. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll reset everything and we'll come back at the other side. By the way, Steve Carney's going to join us at 11 o'clock. He was in the house yesterday at Tropicana Field, and we'll get his take on what's going on this weekend. So quick break. We'll be back. And we'll talk some more Rays. We got the Buck stuff coming up as well. We'll talk some lightning and hockey and NBA. Lots to get to here on this Monday. Stay with us.
Are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Got a little return there, partner. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com, and also Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo cannot join us today, by the way, but we will get him back on next week and continue our journey to health with Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you're looking to reevaluate your entire health profile, it's a great place to go. It's Bay Area Modern Medical Center for a reason, because they do things in a modern way, not the old traditional way. They spend a lot of time with you as a patient. They don't just look to fix symptoms by prescribing a pill. They go after the root cause of your issue and fix that. And that's kind of the new wave in modern medicine. And that's what they do at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. So if you're looking for a new approach in your healthcare, you hear Chris Lugo each and every week on, go to the website, BAMMC.com, get an appointment, and it'll change your life. It's not many things you can do on a daily basis that, quote, change your life, but that's something you can do, because your health is the most important thing you have. And if you ain't got that, you ain't got spit. So Bay Area Modern Medical Center, highly recommend Chris Lugo to get you back to health, get you optimal weight, feeling better, thinking better, all that stuff. It's important. You guys don't take enough care of yourself. We know that. So do something for yourself and make that appointment. All right, I want to get back to some of the Rays stuff. Again, a big 8-7 win yesterday over the Yankees. Incredible crowds all weekend long. And as I said in my monologue, the best is yet to come with this team. You know, Tyler Glasnow has not thrown a pitch this year, and he is, I don't want to say our best pitcher, because I think it's tough to, even though McClanahan, what was that list you tweeted out the other day? McClanahan was the 9th best starting pitcher, according to some. Who was
these MLB.com lists need to just be done with, away with forever. There have not been 8 pitchers this season that have been better than Shane McClanahan. I can promise you that. And the guy that was right in front of him was Kevin Gausman from Toronto. And the day before, he gave up 8 runs and 10 hits. I'm like, I don't see Shane McClanahan. Has Shane McClanahan even given up 8 runs this year? I don't think so.
No.
So these lists need to be done away with completely.
I hate to be that market, right? You know, that we're always crying because we don't get the national attention that we deserve. But it's shit like that just makes you shake your head. And we got something else to talk about today. We'll get into after we do the Rays, and that's the Buccaneers. Peter King taking a dump on the Bucks. A deuce on the Bucks. So we'll talk about that, which, by the way, I personally love. Keep doing it. National media. Yeah, keep doing it.
Hey, by the way, speaking of Glasnow, did you see that he had his AAA start over the weekend, and it looked like he had 4 strikeouts in about an inning in a third or something like that?
2 and a third, 4 strikeouts, couple of hits, I think 2 walks as well. So yeah, good performance, healthy performance. That's the most important thing. Came out of it with no pain. So hopefully, I think the Rays are always probably cautious, so they're probably going to go 2 more starts at AAA and then bring him up. So we'll see, because starting pitching is starting to be a bit of a problem. That's definitely, but the Rays keep overcoming it. I get it. It was a problem yesterday, but they ended up winning it.
Fleming, though, has been really rock solid since that first outing. In all fairness to him, he's been really rock solid, and yesterday was his kind of day just to eat innings, I think, even when they were down 6-0.
Yeah.
Now, they still ended up having to use more of the bullpen than I think they wanted to.
Yeah.
But the good thing about that is look who's on the mound tonight. It's Shane McClanahan. So you're hoping that you can get a nice 6, maybe 7 out of him if it's going well. Hopefully, to save that bullpen a little bit, because I definitely think they got used a little bit more this weekend than they wanted to.
Yeah.
So
Clevenger's injured now.
That was a weird play in that game.
That's why you never want pitchers involved in a rundown. They're not athletic enough, Doug Wechter.
Well, the rundown just went entirely too long.
Yeah, he had to rotate in at that point.
Which, again, this didn't make any sense to me, and I guess this kind of goes back to the whole umpire thing. So Clevenger actually tagged him in the middle of that whole thing. Whenever he went awkwardly down on his knee, he tagged him there, and the ump didn't call it, allowing Torres to just go swipe third.
Right.
And I'm so confused there, because Bethancourt had the wherewithal to pick the ball up and, get to Paredes there, who was smartly covering home. He got hits out just by a hair, right? But I'm just like, why is Torres on third base now?
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. And I was like, oh, this is going to be one of those moments that comes back to bite the Rays. Here it goes. It's going to happen. Yeah. And give credit to Jalen Beeks for getting a big strikeout there.
Huge strikeout. To have to come in that situation and get that strikeout, that was monstrous. Especially – he was down, 2-0 in a count, too, I think.
And it was against Rizzo, who was having a really good game and a really good series. And, by the way, he got squeezed there on a strike 3 call, up in the zone, kind of. It was right there on there. And I'm like, based on the other calls that I've seen in this game, that's a strike.
Yeah, no
consistency. But he comes back and gets him, so that was good to see from the Rays. And the other thing, too, about Garrett Cole, and Brian Anderson was doing such a great job, I think, of breaking it down. Garrett Cole allowed 33 home runs last year.
Yeah.
Which is hard to wrap your head around, led the majors. And this year he entered the game giving up no home runs.
Yep.
And it's because he's controlling his fastball now. He's got so much better command on the fastball where guys aren't hitting home runs. And the mistakes he made were the one to Siri. He made 2 mistakes in a row to Paredes, and he just pulled it foul both times. Both were going to home runs, and he just pulled it foul. And then he has the hanging slider to Bethancourt, which I'm going to try to do a redo here because my computer had bugged out.
Okay, let's give it a shot.
We'll give it a shot here because I wanted to hear the comment.
Tying run. He swings and it's one back into center. Bader's going to go to the track. That baby is gone. Bethancourt, a 3-run shot.
Yeah, that was huge in the grand scheme of things. And then, the 7th run was all Jose Siri. We have that one as well. A little chopper in the infield, and Siri somehow and he is so fast. His stop and go there at third. By the time they realized he was running, it was like too late. He's just so freaking fast. Let's hear that.
There goes Siri, and a little tap off the mound. The throw to first, and Siri's going to score. Siri scores. He was breaking to third, and on that little tap, when Cordero turned to make the throw to first, you knew Siri was going to beeline it to the plate, and then the collision with Will Little.
That's the thing. You can do that if the pitcher, maybe Cordero didn't know that he was running, but you got to give him a look. He goes and he's just worried about fielding the ball and throwing.
Yeah. You steal a run like that. What a huge run it turns out to be. And this is why, and this is demoralizing for the other team. I think even when they play it right and there's not hard contact on the play, a run still scores. I mean, that's got to be demoralizing for the Yankees to be getting beat, when you're up 6-0, and then to get beat with plays like this. You could look over there at the Rays, the bullpen is depleted. They don't have the starters they normally have. And I know the Yankees are hurt too. I get it. But it's just still, they've got to be demoralized. They got to be more.
But again, this is what we've come to see from the Rays, and especially Jose Siri. This guy is electric, man. He is absolutely electric. Again, Kevin Kiermaier, who? Don't know him. Because Jose Siri makes me forget about him. I mean, the power that he provides from a time to time, the defense is there, and the speed on the base paths. I mean, I don't know how many guys in the league can do that. It's almost great that Yandy hit the ball and didn't take that pitch. It's like he almost saw Siri breaking, and it's like he decided last second, this is definitely a ball, but I'm going to swing anyway because I know I'm just going to chop it to first,
right?
And it's going to create confusion. And I mean, again, I think that was a heads-up play by Yandy actually to get the ball, to get the bat on the ball there.
That's a great point.
To give it an opportunity because he knew that there was no way they were going to get Jose Siri. But I see plays like that, and I'm just reminded of, this is what the Yankees lack. They don't have anybody that can really do something like that. Like, just make something happen on the base path. The only player that they have that can do that, and he was a menace the entire series, was Harrison Bader. The Yankees, I think they need more guys like that, honestly. Yeah. That dude, every time he came up to the plate, I'm like, why am I so scared of Harrison Bader right now? But I was. I feel like he did everything for that team in this series. So, but that's their problems. They're poorly constructed roster.
They are.
You have to deal with that. But I have to ask you this, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this is a hot take or not, or if we've talked about it. Just the intensity that's in these Rays-Yankee games now. Is this rivalry, I don't know if I'm going to say it's bigger necessarily, but is it definitely more hot right now than Red Sox-Yankees? I'd have to ask, honestly, Yankee fans how they feel about that. But doesn't it feel like this rivalry has more steam to it right now than Red Sox-Yankees?
Yeah, because Red Sox just haven't been very good. They just haven't been very good. So I would say yes. I mean, you got to ask Yankee fan. I think obviously that hate runs deep. But when's the last time they had a big series against the Red Sox?
That's what I'm saying. Like, even when the Red Sox have been good in recent years, they haven't really run into the Yankees as much in big. I mean, they did have the wild card game, in 2021, right? Where the Red Sox got them there.
Yeah.
But that was only a 1-game thing. It wasn't really like a full-on series. Like, because I watched like their whole I watched a documentary this weekend about the whole Red Sox-Yankee rivalry before I came to this take, and I was like, 20 years ago that would have been a stupid take when the rivalry was really hot.
Right.
But I'm like, right now, it just feels like these two teams really hate each other right now.
Oh, there's real hate. And that's as it should be, as it should be. And, throw in the whole thing of the Yankees, spring training in Tampa and the fact that there's too many Yankee fans that live here. Right. Yeah. And that's why that's why the trop is so cool in series like this. And, going back to the playoffs, how awesome would it be to get the Yankees in another playoff series here? Oh. That would be insane. So much fun. So I look forward to it. Let's hear the Paredes walk-off one more time. Why not? Courtesy of Valley Sports Sun. All our sound here today. And what a job he did going the other way. Fantastic job.
We are in the 10th. And a line drive base hit over LeMahieu's head. Here comes Lau. Throw to the plate. Rays win. Rays win it in 10 at 8-7 final. As Paredes got that ball into right. And the Rays, who scored 5 times in the 6th inning. What a comeback win this is for the Rays.
Just so much fun to watch. And I'd like to say 32,000 were sent home happy, but it's probably about 20,000, maybe 18,000. But that's fine.
Yeah, the upper deck thing did work, at least on Sunday. It was a little sparse on Saturday, the upper deck, but yesterday it looked like it was at least like halfway up in every section across the upper deck. So it did seem to work, which was interesting because I think yesterday was the most expensive ticket for the upper decks, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. The bottom line is on the weekends now, they've got to keep the upper decks open. They just have to.
But probably not. And I know they did it because it's the Yankees and whatever, and I understand that. But if they're playing like, the Royals on the weekend, like I would just make the upper deck $10, $15.
Yeah.
And offer it that way.
Well, Stu doesn't like that because then people buy the cheap tickets and move down into the better seats and he loses money. So we can't have that. Can't have that. You rogue people. And you know who you are. You know who you are, Nick Geddes. I would never do anything like that. I would never. Never in my life have I ever done that.
Hey, where was your assigned ticket on opening day?
I was in like 116 or something, like right behind first base dugout. It's nice. About 25 rows up.
And that was your assigned ticket?
Thanks to American Mortgage Services for my opening day. See, thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Clayton. Appreciate it.
That's how you roll. You still have paid $0 for games this year.
I will not pay $1 for a game. I will not put $1.
Whereas I'm going out of my way to go to these.
Somebody wants to pay for my ticket, and I'll pay them. But I ain't putting.
I'm going out of my
no
way.
direct deposits.
Do you know how long it took me to get to the stadium on Saturday, by the way?
Yeah, and somebody put that in our comments. I think it was Lonnie and it's absolutely true. And this is we didn't want to dump on the Rays at all portion of the show, but this is just the truth. When it's over 25,000 Tropicana Field, everything breaks down.
Well,
there's not enough parking, not enough concessions. The lines are long. Everything's a disaster.
I actually had the opposite experience. Truthfully.
How long did it take you to get there?
Now, it took me a while to get there. It took about an hour and a half to get there from Lithia. A little bit, but it wasn't like I ran into like crazy traffic. It's just that's just what it is on a Saturday, right?
Yeah.
But getting out of there, like I got in my car and like I was in the main parking lot and I was expecting just to be sitting there for a while.
Right.
I got right in line right away, no issue.
Wow.
And I got in and out of the parking lot in like probably 5 minutes.
Did they staff the parking lot this time?
Yeah, it was staffed and they had police doing it and everything.
There you go.
So I got out of there really quickly. I got on the interstate within 10 minutes. There was a little backup on the interstate, the crowd going to Tampa, but once it got going a little bit, I was fine. I got home in about an hour.
Yeah. And by the way, there was another article over the weekend about the secrecy of this negotiations that's going on with St. Pete. There was a leak from somebody leaked out information on $1 billion deal, government spending, shocking development. And glad somebody did, because it seems like the mayor and all the city council and the Rays want to keep everything hush-hush while they work out this plan. And then they say they're going to present it to the public for public comment. Public's not going to vote on it, but there'll be public comment for the St. Pete Council. I'll be interested to see how that public comment goes, because I would bet, as it looks like now, a $1.2 billion stadium. The Rays say they're going to pay half for the stadium, so $600 million, which they could have done in Ybor and paid $350 million $450 million, and already had that stadium built in a better location, and they'd be done. But now suddenly they're going to pay $600 million. I'll believe that when I see it. And we'll see what the deal is and if it's worth for St. Pete. But that's for another day. We'll talk about that another day. Let's listen to Kevin Cash post game yesterday after the big come from behind 8-7 win over the Stankies.
In this game, but we'll start with the very end there. Just Isak got just enough of that fastball. How impressive was that piece of hitting there from him?
Pretty impressive. We probably had the right two guys up with their bat to ball skills. Harold flies out to center. We don't move the run, but Isak, he's dead pull hitter, but when he needs to go the other way or show the ability to, that was a big hit, and we're jumping around, high-fiving.
A bit of an inning before that. A lot of things happened, but just Beeks coming in there and getting that crucial strikeout.
That was huge. So unfortunate for Clev. Don't have really an update other than that he'll get checked out by some doctors, I'm sure, tomorrow. Likely IL. He was doing a nice job, kind of a quirky play. I'm sure his knee grabbed. I'm not sure. I think it's the right one. And then Beeks, those are tough moments to get into when you're not expecting to be in the game in that moment, and you got to go face their best hitter in Anthony Rizzo. Fell behind 3-1, but came back and made big pitches.
And then just that sixth inning, the guy's ability to chip away at a 6-run deficit. The Bethancourt home run, the Siri going all the way home from second. What stood out?
Yeah, Siri getting on the board with a home run, that was big. That kind of, I think, relaxed us a little bit. We knew we had our hands full facing Garrett. He's really good, and we stayed at it. I really credit the guys for not getting overly frustrated early on. Stayed at it, had big at-bats. When there was a ball left in the zone, it seemed like we were able to capitalize. Siri's base running, there's just not many people that have that awareness and certainly the speed that he does. And then Bettencourt, the 3-run homer was awesome.
Big picture is winning a game like this down 6 against Cole and come back and win this game.
Yeah, look, I don't know how you quantify, magnify, whatever it is, games in May, but this was a big one. And I know our clubhouse is pretty excited, and they should be.
Kevin, I know you could care less how to run score as long as they cross the plate, but there are 20 games this season. You've hit at least 2 homers. That's remarkable at this point in time of the season.
It is. We've been talking about the long ball a lot, and I don't know if anybody expected us to hit homers at this rate. We felt we had guys that were equipped, but it does feel like they're kind of feeding off each other, and whatever power we got, everybody's putting it to use and coming up with big hits.
Cole had a lot of success against you guys last year, and you've talked about this before, but just the different approach the guys have at the plate this year, making a difference against a pitcher like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Look, a couple years ago, we had some really good games against him. Last year, it felt like, every time he took the ball, it was a really quiet night offensively. There is a difference. Generally speaking, he was on pace to kind of wear us down, and then we go quiet. But I think the momentum that we've created this first month has certainly helped. And young guys having confidence that there's some veteran guys around that know they can do it, and we piece it together against the best pitcher in baseball right now.
Your run game isn't hurting you either.
What's that?
Your run game is not hurting you either.
You stolen bases and stuff like that. Yep.
Yeah.
We assume that with good team speed, we're going to be able to take advantage of some extra 90 feet here and there. It has felt like it's played to our favor here as of late.
Yeah. Kevin Cash hitting some of the high points on that on this win and this Yankee series win, and he's just got to be so pleased about the way this team has responded. And it's again extremely unique to have a team that was so bad offensively last year. You had really no additions whatsoever, and they're the best hitting team in baseball this year. It just seems like the Rays figure it out. However, and I think it's a lot because of the rules changes that maybe they changed course a little bit on some of the things that they were thinking. Instead of going out and spend a lot of money on a big bopper who might get you 40 but still strike out 200 times, maybe we just want more guys with speed and contact since there's no shift anymore. Batting averages are going to go up, more action in the field, more range for your outfielders. You're going to need that, more range from your infielders. The teams with better range, the faster teams are going to more contact teams are going to be better in this new rules environment. And I think they nailed it. They looked at, because when you think of all those things I just mentioned, right? That's a dramatic shift in the way the game is played. Bigger bases as well. The pitch clock, I think, makes hitters more aggressive and pitchers more aggressive. All of these things, I think they analyzed it and said, well, where's the league going? Well, it's going towards more contact, more athleticism, and more action. So what do you need? You need athletic, fast players. It's kind of like going back to old school baseball. And where power hitting was important, but it wasn't everything, right? It wasn't just, walks, strikeouts, and home runs. Now these rules have done what they're supposed to do. They've brought more action to the game. They've sped up the game. And these are games that I watched growing up. These are games from the 70s and 80s where, this is fast paced. This is more hitting. This is, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch. And the Rays have taken full advantage of it. And as we knew they would.
Yeah, it's an enjoyable brand of baseball is probably the best way to put it. And if Major League Baseball, we've seen the articles written in the last few years from pretty prominent writers about, the Rays are bad for baseball because of the way they operate and the way that they play. So I like to think, I don't really care about this, but just for the national people that were so pressed about it, it has to be a great thing overall that the Rays, operating like they do, are playing the most enjoyable brand of baseball out there right now. And it's not close. I mean, continually today, they're number one in every hitting category, literally every hitting category outside, I think, of stolen bases and like doubles. They're number one in MLBN. Like, they're lapping the entire field right now. Number one in ERA by a wide margin as well, with the injury. So, like I said, enjoyable brand of baseball. I'm enjoying it. It's like, it's so cool to go into the summer. We just have the Rays, but it's like I want to watch them every single night because I never know what's going to happen with this team.
RJ Martin says, for sure, thinking back the last few years, the Yankees are always throwing at us, not because we're losing to them, but because we're beating them constantly. Yeah, they get butthurt. That's the worst part about it is like, you know what? Be men about it at least. If you're going to hit us for something that we did really wrong, but you guys just get butthurt over the worst stuff. That's such a Yankee thing too, isn't it? I like this from Richie P. I went to see Steve Trevino, comedian, Friday, brought up the Yankees in his act, and the crowd started booing. It was funny because he brought up Jose Trevino on stage right after that. All you New York buddies, right? Get the hell out of here. It's not Yankees country. Get it. Go back to New York, will you? Tom Casper says the Rays contingent is 100% contingent on naming rights pursuit. Of course, because naming rights can bring you, look at the Braves got what, $200 million in naming rights for their new stadium. I think it was almost 15 to 20 million a year. I mean, that's almost your whole contribution to the stadium. Of course, he's gonna. If you don't think he's going to absolutely pillage the city of St. Pete in this deal, you're nuts. It's going to be the worst deal for taxpayers. And that's just going to be in the initial reporting. Wait till you dive into the details. The only reason they would ever build a stadium in St. Petersburg is if they could just ravage them and get so much public money and then sell the team and just walk away laughing. And we're left with a poorly located stadium. And
I will say though,
I see it happening. I see it coming.
I will say through the 20-ish home games or whatever they've played this year, what this has taught us with these crowds and these environments, and I know like the team being as good as they are has to do with it, but, and you can stop me if you disagree, it seems like when you try and you make an effort to get people into the ballpark with cheaper tickets for majority of the year and the marketing and creating a fun environment and Randy Land and all these other things, I feel like I'm still always going to feel like Tampa's the better option, but at least just trying to look at it from that perspective, and I'm sure they're doing it as well, like it can work in St. Pete to a good extent, right? When you do the necessary things. I mean, because they've gotten themselves up to, I think, around 20-ish right now in total attendance so far, or average attendance. And I think they're hovering around 18 or 19, which is, I think that's a respectable number, to be honest.
For
you would like
having a stadium where it's located.
I think it's a great achievement, and hopefully in the summer when they're the only show in town and everybody's off work, especially with the schools and the kids and all that, and they're the only show in town and all that, and they're playing this way, hopefully it carries on. And I would love nothing more for them to have like record attendance numbers this year from what they've had.
Absolutely.
So
Just don't make the mistake of thinking it's long. It's long-term solution.
But at least it's showing that you can get by with it at least.
Listen, I don't want to get down that rabbit hole right now because I want to get a little bit to some of the football stuff. So, and we got Steve Carney coming up at 11. So I want to dive into this just a little bit here before we have to break. So Peter King put out his, I'm going on vacation for 2 months. Here's my last thoughts on everything it takes you about 3 hours to read the whole thing. But he ranked all the teams and he put the Bucs in under construction, Carolina at 25, Indianapolis at 26. These are all the under construction teams. Washington at 27, the Rams at 28, Chicago at 29, Houston at 30, and Tampa Bay at 31. 31, only one team worse than Tampa Bay. And as Luke Easterling put out there, I want to get this exactly because he's absolutely right, he says, it's just wild to me that a team with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Levante David, Vita Vea, Tristan Wirfs, Ryan Jensen, Shaq Barrett, Antoine Winfield Jr., Devin White, Carlton Davis III, and Jamel Dean is the second worst football team in the NFL. No, they're not. They're not. And this is Tom Brady hangover. This is Tom, and shame on you, Peter King. Shame on you. You should know better than this. This is going to be the take of every national person who doesn't know squat about football, and it just looks. Oh, Tom Brady's gone. Oh, they're going to be terrible now. I mean, without Tom Brady, he was their whole team. Tom Brady held this team back last year. He held them back last year. I said it during the season, and everybody will agree with it now. And wait till you see a real offense where people are moving around. You know what? I shouldn't say that because it's Dave Canales. Okay, we have no idea. He could be as bad as Byron Leftwich. We don't know. But any competent offensive coordinator with the talent on this offense has got to get more than 18 points a game, which is what Brady gave us last year. Anybody. I mean, good God. So, and I'm here to say it's going to be much better than it was last year. So I ain't saying they're winning the Super Bowl, but they're not the second worst team in football.
What I don't understand, and Peter King is very respectable in this business, obviously, but there's no explanation here. If you go through this actual column, there's like a paragraph or so for every team and why they're ranked where they are. The Bucs have the least amount of words written for them. And all it says is, well, the Super Bowl was still worth it. So what is that? 7 words, 8 words? That's the only explanation I get is the Super Bowl was worth it. And what's funny is the team that's ranked 30, which is Houston, the excerpt there is, I don't think a team with the presence and ethos-changing ability of DeMeco Ryans and the playmaking ability of C.J. Stroud can be the worst team in the league. So I get a first-time head coach and a rookie quarterback, and that's what makes that team not the 31st or the 32nd team in the league. But I can't get an explanation for why the Bucs are 31, given what Luke Easterling said with all the players and the talent that is still on this roster. Like, I don't get the I don't have any explanation here, but he's not alone in this thinking. We've done the whole thing with the odds, and the Bucs have like the second worst odds or the third worst odds, right?
Yeah.
Around the league. Like, go look at Houston and go look at Arizona and go look at Chicago and the Rams. The Bucs are better than these teams on paper. On paper,
that's 11 Pro Bowlers and Super Bowl champions. Every one of those guys won the Super Bowl and has been to a Pro Bowl. And of all of them, I would say only Levante David is past his prime. Mike Evans, okay, still a hell of a football player. A hell of a football player. Yeah. But everyone else is in their prime. Maybe Shaq. Jensen, I mean, those guys are not past their prime. They're still Pro Bowl football players. Maybe not Levante, but, still pretty damn good football player when he's healthy. Good football player.
Listen, I mean, but again, the Bucs were non-existent, I felt like, in the national eye for 15, 20 years before Brady got here. So it only makes sense that it goes right back to the way it was now that he's gone. But that's exactly what this column just reminds me of. It's like, oh, well, Brady's gone. He equated to half of their wins last year. Baker Mayfield, boo-hoo, bye. Like, you're the 31st team in the league. Like, it's like completely ignoring everything else with the roster right now. Like, do I know that C.J. Stroud's better than Baker Mayfield? Do I know the answer to that question? Do I know that Bryce Young's better than Baker Mayfield? I don't have the answer to those questions. I mean, the Titans on this list are like number 19. Like, really? What makes them so much better than the Bucs? Yeah. That many spots better than the Bucs? I don't know. I mean, they're just rankings at the end of the day. But I think it is funny though, the lack of, I don't want to say respect necessarily, but just a lack of understanding, maybe, I guess, is the way to phrase it, of where the Bucs are right now.
Yeah, and I agree. And Richie P says, Booger thinks that the Bucs are setting up for a tanking situation to get the USC QB. I totally respect Richie's, Booger's take on everything, and he's more plugged in than I am. But I just don't see that. With the moves that they've made, the only one that I could say would fit in that category is giving Todd Bowles another year. I mean, to me, they've done everything to improve their ball club that they could possibly do. And I think they've done a great job doing it. They held on to players I didn't think they could hold on to. In Jamel Dean and Levante, bringing those guys back. I was shocked they were able to bring back the guys that they were and add the players that they were.
I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I think the roster right now the overall roster going into this season looks better than the roster last season. Is that fair to say? That this year's roster looks better than the one that went into last season when we were talking Super Bowl? Take quarterback out of the equation right now, but everything else, seriously. The receiving room is the exact same and almost going to be better because of Chris Godwin. The tight end should be better because they're a year older. The O-line has nowhere to go but up, right? You kept your corners. You kept Levante David. Ryan Neal, I think, is an upgrade over Logan Ryan or Keanu Neal. That's back there. I think Greg Gaines is if he stays healthy, is an upgrade over Akeem Hicks. And some of the other additions they made, I think who's the big pieces they lost this offseason save Tom Brady? What did they lose? Bunch of dead wood?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could argue
I just don't see this. I don't see this roster drop off that everybody's seeing.
We're going to get into this a little bit more because we got Steve Carty coming up. We're going to talk some more Rays baseball. But after we're done with Steve, we're going to get back to this football chatter because I just think this is just a bad take by Peter King, and I think people aren't looking at this the way they should. I think you just had a great analysis of it, and that's a team that won the division last year. I mean, I know it's 8 wins, I get it, but they're not so that much worse than they were. They're better than they were last year. Come on, I think. Anyway, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. Steve Carty's going to join us, Rays insider, for a long time covering the Rays. So we'll do that. Thanks to Jeeves Law Group and Bay Area Modern Medical Center for presenting our first hour. And we'll be back with some more Rays talk, some more Bucks talk. We'll get into the NBA and hockey. Poor Toronto. Oh my God, I feel so bad.
This is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on TrueBody and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-29, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Golden Diamond Source. Mother's Day is coming up, so you know where to get that nice shiny ring, those earrings or necklace or whatever for your mom. It's the Golden Diamond Source. They got great sales going on right now, and always the leader in selection and service, and the best not only clientele, but folks will get your budget, whatever you want. They're not going to try to be high pressure. Their sales staff is absolutely the best in the world. They will get exactly what you need, the best value, and that's why they've been in business for so long. Great folks over there, Steve and Julie Weintraub. Give them a shot at the Gold and Diamond Source. All right, let's bring in our good friend Steve Connie, Rays insider, longtime member of the media covering the Rays. What's up, Steve-O? How are you, my friend?
Hello, JP. It's good to be with you again today, and especially after what was just an absolutely wild weekend at Tropicana Field. I mean, did that feel more like what baseball should feel like here in Tampa Bay?
Yes, it did. I did not get to go to any of the games, but I was watching on TV with great intent, wishing I was there, by the way. And the atmosphere looked tremendous. I've been to 2 games already this year, Steve, and it's been, the pace of the game. I freaking love it. When the Trop is full, it's even with Yankee fans. It brings an energy that's unique in baseball. There's no question about that. I mean, it's still an outdated stadium. We still need a new one. We need all the amenities, all that stuff. But for a little bit of nostalgia, maybe it's a hip place to go right now. But that was phenomenal. I mean, you've been covering this team as long as I have, since their birth. What do you think? How does this weekend rate for as far as fan energy in a regular season series? Maybe the best ever.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I mean, there certainly has not been a weekend that has been that loud at Tropicana Field, at least since before the pandemic. And even before the pandemic, 2019 was loud, but it was loud in the playoffs. And then you look before that, the team was pretty bad the first couple of years that Kevin Cash was the manager. So then you got to go back to the Joe Madden era, and 2013, in the playoffs. But really, I think you got to go back. You got to go back a long ways to find a regular season game that sounded like the games that we saw this weekend.
And just from a baseball standpoint, Steve, I mean, we kind of just went on a diatribe about how as we knew they would, the Rays have taken full advantage of the new rules. They've gone more athletic. They've gone more towards speed, range in the outfield, range in the infield to affect the shift. They're running more, putting pressure on the defense. Siri has been phenomenal. So not only that, but the fact that all these players that they counted on to bounce back, which you don't see much patience in baseball anymore, have done just that. I mean, a team that was the worst offensively in baseball at the end of last year is somehow now the best, and it's the same guys. Make it make sense for me here.
Yeah, it really is about health. You mentioned it there, that they were putting their eggs in the basket that Brandon Lau was going to return to be Brandon Lau. And yes, I know he has gone in a little bit of a cooler here over the last 6 or 7 games, but he started off gangbusters. You look at it, the first 15 or 16 games of the season, he had an OPS over 1,200. So, I mean, you were not expecting that for the entire season, but I certainly feel that, Brandon Lau has been Brandon Lau. Wander Franco has been Wander Franco. Randy Arozarena has been Randy Arozarena. And they've gotten the production from guys like Isaac Paredes, who had his breakout season last year. He does not seem to have regressed towards the mean either. So that's a really nice thing to see. And, just getting guys like Josh Lowe and Taylor Walls and Luke Raley, who, have struggled at the big league level, but finally seem to have reached that comfort level saying, okay, we know we belong here. Now let's perform up to what we expect. And I think Lowe has done that, especially. Walls has certainly been a very nice surprise and has allowed guys like Brandon Lau to not have to be able to have to shoulder all the offense, that you're picking guys up when they're in a slump. That's amazing to see. And if you're doing that, you're going to score a lot of runs.
Yeah, and then yesterday we saw the two biggest pieces of that comeback were Jose Siri and Christian Bethancourt, which were two guys they kind of got in those under the radar deals, I guess I'll call them, last year during the season. And Jose Siri in particular, I mean, we obviously saw Kevin Kiermaier for a decade and the excitement that he brought, but just Jose Siri, just speak to just the way he plays the game. I mean, the uniqueness to it. I just don't know how many guys can do what he did yesterday, going from second to first on a little chopper to the pitcher.
Yeah, scoring from second base on a comeback to the mound is not something you see all the time. And while we talk about Kevin Kiermaier and the speed, and I asked Kevin Cash about this earlier this year about Jose Siri and the speed aspect and trying to compare it to Kevin Kiermaier. And Cash's response to me was not only Jose Siri is faster than Kevin Kiermaier, he may be one of the 3 or 4 fastest guys in the league right now, but he's also probably the most aggressive base runner that the Rays have had since Carl Crawford. I really do think that, he's always looking to take the extra base. You've seen how aggressive he can be on the base path, not just yesterday in what happened. And just, I went back and I watched that video about 25 or 30 times, not just to see Jose Siri barrel over the home plate umpire, Will Hill, but, just for the sort of, that is so exciting of a play. And it also shows how smart the Rays have been on the base paths this year. I mean, how many times last year did we talk about, this team is getting thrown out on the base paths at rates that, should not be expected at this level. I mean, there was so many times guys were getting thrown out trying to take an extra base. You're not seeing that this year. You're seeing a much smarter organization knowing when to take that extra base and when they're going to be able to. And in yesterday's case, taking that extra base and seeing that Jimmy Cordero was not looking over. All he had to do was look over at third base, and Siri would have stopped before he threw to first base. But he didn't do it. Siri noticed it. Brady Williams, the third base coach, noticed it, and that's why he was able to take that run from the end.
Please tell me, Steve, though, that you think Will Little deserved that push, though. He deserved that just a little
and
bit.
More.
And probably more after that performance behind the plate yesterday.
I'm sure that behind the scenes, there were probably a lot of chuckles about that. Especially, I mean, let's face it, the umpiring during that entire homestand. You look at the first series. I thought Derek Shelton was fit to be tied with how the umpires were calling things, and then in this series with the Yankees, you could tell that Kevin Cash was not happy with how things were going. So yeah, I'm sure there were chuckles all around.
Well, Steven, let's go back to Friday night when Cash gets ejected, and we talked about this a little earlier in the show, but I got to get your perspective on this. Clearly the Yankees were throwing at Arozarena from the very beginning. I mean, read the freaking room, for God's sakes. When Randy hit that home run and everybody went, and rightfully so, we get free beer. I mean, for God's sakes, it's like fantastic. Why do the Yankees got to get butthurt about everything that's fun? And they get butthurt about everything. And of course they're going to throw it at Arozarena. You let them get away with it once, and then you let them get away with it twice by giving the warning. No wonder Cash got ejected. That's horseshit umpiring.
I agree with you completely on that. You have to read the room, and you have to know what Randy has done all year.
Yes.
You can go all the way back to the World Baseball Classic. He was doing that. And so, of course, the Yankees have to be the purveyors of no fun.
Right.
We all know that. You can't wear your hair long. You can't have facial hair with the Yankees. And so, of course, they're not going to be any fun. But I look at, them hitting Randy once, and then hitting him a second time. I was hoping that Kevin Cash after the game would get asked about it and go, I was only upset that they issued warnings because let's face it, there ain't anybody on that side of that's worth hitting. So I mean, so Stanton, why are we?
We want to keep all their bad hitters in the game.
Somebody asked this on Facebook. It's like, do you hit LeMahieu? Do you hit Harrison Bader? I said you would have to hit those guys 3 times each to equal one hit of Randy. So I mean, come on.
Oh, great point, Carney. Hey, you got some good lines today. I like where you go with this. This is fun. Steve Carney joining us here. All right, so what's next for this team in terms of we got more injuries to deal with, right? This is like freaking an NFL team. Clevenger now looks like he's going on the IL for the botched rundown yesterday. Let's get back to fundamentals, boys. Keep the pitcher out of it. So he's on. Who's coming up? We got Glass now coming back. Give us some updates on the injuries.
Yeah, we'll start with the good side. Tyler Glass now in his 46-pitch rehab start in Durham. That's about where they wanted him. They were looking at 3 innings or 45 pitches. I thought that from all the accounts, and I kind of went back and watched a little bit of the highlights of him throwing. Seeing him in the very upper 90s is exactly where you want to see it. The velocity is there. Now you want to make sure that he's got the command of the off speed, and you'll probably do that over the next, I would say, 2 rehab starts. So I would say he's got 2 more to go because he'll probably go 4 and I would say 60, and then 5 and 75, and then they'll deem him Dominus Opus. He's good to go and bring him back. As for Clevenger, Kevin Cash saying that the knee kind of grabbed him. That's never a good sign. Though it's a better sign than the knee let go. If you feel the knee let go, then things are in bad shape. Him saying that the knee kind of grabbed leads me to believe that this is not going to be a season-ending type thing for Clevenger. But still, a knee sprain, and especially if it's like an MCL, you're looking at 6 to 8 weeks probably. I would think that on short term, you're probably going to see either Trevor Kelly or Calvin Fauché in that spot, with probably Luis Patino taking over for after a couple of outings, I would say, as they try and transition Patino from being a starter into the bullpen. That's going to take a little bit of getting used to and making sure that they know what it takes for him to get ready to come into a game. I would think that he's probably the name that you should be looking at, perhaps long-term, if this thing goes much longer than that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about Patino because I saw that they're gonna transfer him to a reliever. Just your thoughts on, I guess, why they made is it just not working out down there in AAA? I'm sure you follow the team a lot closer than we do down there. Just how he's been down there in AAA this year, and have they tried it out? Have they tested it out yet? Whether at the major league level, I think he got a cup of coffee as a reliever with the Rays 2 years ago, and in AAA as well.
Yeah, I think that the plan is that it's been rough sledding for him as a starter, and so I think it makes sense to make the transition. But as I mentioned, Nick, there's a big difference in how you get ready as a starting pitcher versus getting ready for a reliever, and so that's probably going to be the biggest change for not just for Patino, but for the coaching staff, because you have to now get him ready. And doing this at AAA is a hell of a lot easier than doing this at the big league level. You have to, be sure to go, okay, this is what you need in order to get ready and to try and get him, because you look at it, relievers, especially if you're coming into a clean inning, you're usually getting started throwing in the bullpen with once the first out in the inning, in the half inning prior gets going. So it gets recorded. So you've got basically 2 outs to get ready. And especially with a pitch clock now, 2 outs can be a lot shorter this year than it ever was last year. So it's all about getting up, getting hot quickly, and they have to determine just what it takes for him to get warmed up properly so he can come in and kind of do what Wade Davis did. I mean, you remember Wade Davis as a starter with the Rays was throwing, 92, 93. And then when they moved him into a relief role, he's throwing 97, 98. I'm thinking that they are hoping that they can see something similar to that with Patino with his fastball, because now he knows that he doesn't have to go and try and save stuff for the 5th and 6th innings of work. He can just go out there, throw an inning, and just let it all hang out.
Steve Carney joining us here. All right, before you get out of here, Steve, I postulated this in my monologue that we have not seen the best of the Rays yet. Now, when you look at their record, that should be stupid to say, right? I mean, everything they've done is historic. But they could still not have the record and be a better team because they're going to play, step up in competition a little bit in the next month. But they haven't had Glass now, and their pitching staff, they get Fairbanks back. And if Patino can be a good reliever, if they can be a good setup guy, and I just think that their best baseball, their best pitching, I think, is definitely ahead of them. Now, I don't expect them to continue to score runs at this pace, but it's not going to fall off very much. So could this team get better as the season goes on?
Oh, absolutely. And those two pieces that you mentioned are going to be key for them to take that next, even a next step forward. Getting Tyler Glasnow back to shore up the starting rotation now that Jeffrey Springs is done for the rest of this year and probably a large chunk of 2024 as well. And the fact that they're doing this with a bullpen that has gotten a whole lot less swing and miss than they've had in years past. Kevin Cash doesn't have the whole stable of guys that throw 98 anymore. He's got Pete Fairbanks and let's think about it. Oh yeah, Pete Fairbanks. They don't have the flamethrowers that they've had in years past. They're doing it with guys that can get ground balls, which I think is a huge plus. Having Ryan Thompson and Kevin Kelly and Garrett Clevenger, who were known for getting lots of grounders, is a big plus for them. But I think getting Fairbanks back, knowing that you need a guy that can throw a baseball past some of these best fastball hitters in all of the sport, is going to be huge for this team taking that next step. And thankfully, Fairbanks is probably a lot closer to returning than most people think. And Glasnow is probably about another week and a half or 2 weeks away from being ready to come back as well.
You imagine that? Getting Glasnow, followed by McClanahan, followed by Rasmus. I mean, it's
it's going out at the trade deadline and getting a number one.
Yeah.
That's and doing it in mid-May and hopefully having him for the rest of the season. That's what they're thinking. And it makes Eric Neander and Peter Bendix's life in July hopefully a hell of a lot easier.
Yes.
Now your focus becomes, okay, what's the little piece that we need in order to get over the hump, as opposed to, say, 2 years ago when they had to go and trade Joe Ryan and Drew Strotman to get Nelson Cruz, which was a big piece that they felt that they needed to get ahead. They don't need that this year. They only need the little piece. And they look more like Dodgers or a Yankees or a Braves in that aspect than they do in years past when they looked like, well, let's say the Rays.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even mention Eflin, and if I'm not mistaken, they've won every start that he's started. All right, Steve, tell everybody where they can find your content, your podcasts, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. You can catch me at stpete9.com, where we've got all the latest on the Rays. Just putting up an article about poor Ryan Yarbrough, the former Rays starter, got hit in the face with a line drive yesterday, 106-mile-an-hour comebacker, and was able to walk off the field. So talking about Ryan Yarbrough and plenty more at stpete9.com, where everything is.
All right. Thank you, Steve-O. Appreciate it, my friend. We'll talk to you down the line. Thanks,
appreciate it.
I saw that video. Holy crap. That is scary stuff. Scary stuff. Whew.
I mean, usually when that stuff kind of happens, I think a lot of times they've had the stretchers come out and, then it becomes like a really big thing. And obviously Tyler Zombro, the Durham pitcher, his story after he got hit, I mean, I can't even imagine. But the fact that he was able to get up and walk off, I mean, that's one tough dude, Ryan Yarbrough.
Damn, that was scary stuff. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side, talk some more football, get into this Peter King article on the Buccaneers, and a couple other thoughts on some of the other things that he said in that column, I think that are worthy of it. He's the king, right? He's Peter King. So we'll talk about it when we come back. Stay with us.
This is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Want to remind you folks that the great folks over at Italiano Insurance are doing their best to keep your costs down for homeowners insurance. Homeowners insurance has gone through the roof, but you never know. They might be able to find you a cheaper policy. So why not go ahead and give them a call at 813-877-7799. They'll also make sure you're getting all the discounts that you deserve. If you've made some improvements to your home, you probably haven't added those to your homeowner's insurance, so you can save money on that deal. So why not just do a whole checkup, see if they could save you money. While you're at it, let them shop your auto insurance and every other insurance you have around. They can save you thousands of dollars. Let them do all the work. You get the benefits. That's 813-877-7799. Thanks to the good folks at Italiano Insurance. We're having a little discussion on the Bucs and their roster and how Peter King has ranked them at 31st, only ahead of the lowly Cardinals and behind the Texans, which I think the Texans are going to be a lot better this year.
I do too.
But I can't see the Bucs as the second worst team in the league. And if any team has learned that tanking doesn't work, it's Tampa Bay, right? we've got to, even if you get the number one guy, why would you give up a season or two to get the guy, if it's, Caleb Williams from USC, if you don't know if he's going to be the guy? Jameis, they did that for Jameis, although, it was one game maybe, but didn't work out.
Yeah, and I was going to say, too, for all people that think the Bucs are, like, tanking and stuff like that, again, just the moves they've made. If they were tanking, Avonte David would not be a Buccaneer.
Exactly.
They wouldn't have gone above and beyond to try to get Jamel Dean back.
Totally agree.
Let's see, if they were tanking and he wasn't in their plans for the future, they probably would have just said, you know what, let's just trade Devin White 1 year out. Let's just bite the bullet, right, for tanking. But they think they can win with them, and that's fine.
I think Ryan Jensen would have been traded.
Ryan Jensen might have been on the block potentially. Yep. Let's see. The Ryan Neal is a guy who got all pro votes last year. You're not bringing him in at safety. Baker Mayfield, to an extent. Like, if they were tanking, wouldn't it just be Kyle Trask and, like,
draft a quarterback,
Chase Daniel, or like a fifth round pick or something?
100%.
Like, they haven't made any moves this offseason that have told me, wow, they're really tanking. Like, I just don't see where the narrative's coming from. Barring if they end up having the second pick next year, based on what Peter King is saying, that tells me that Todd Bowles was a complete disaster.
Yes.
And listen, we've talked to that one. We beat that one. That's fair. That is a fair thing that could happen. Yeah. That tells me that Dave Canales was in over his head. That tells me that Baker and Trask were just not it at all. And that tells me they probably had some injuries. There's a lot of things that have to go wrong, in my opinion, for the Bucs to be anywhere near the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, honestly. I think this team is every bit as good as any team in the division, because I think all four teams, if I was to rank the teams right now in the entire league, I'd probably rank all those four teams right next to each other, and probably would have very slight differences for why I put one over the other. But I don't think there's much differentiating these teams in the division like this column kind of reads.
I think the Saints are going to be better than people think. I think Derek Carr is a major step up for them in terms of their personality of their team, their toughness of the team, their ability to win games late, which is what this league comes down to. So I think, to me, the biggest question in New Orleans, head coach, again, Dennis Allen.
Yeah.
Same thing in Tampa Bay. It's not the Saints roster that I doubt. I think it's a good roster. I think it's a playoff worthy roster. I just don't know if their head coach can run the show. And it's the same thing for Todd Bowles. Again, we love Todd Bowles as a person, great dude. We're pulling for him. Absolutely, we're pulling for him. But if you're an objective observer, what evidence is there to suggest that this guy is a good head coach and could turn this whole thing around, could turn the culture around, until we see things that are different. And I think we have seen some difference in the interviews. I think he seems like he's more in charge. But, I mean, that's just off-season stuff, right? Until we see, him galvanize a team on the field where they're not making consistent mistakes like they were last year, where accountability went down clearly. It seems like there was a lot of things going on that had never gone on before with guys leaving and leaving the team, Tom, and other things. And, Devin White getting called out by other people, but not getting called out by the head coach when it's clear he's not playing to a level he needs to play to. Until he stops, telling Tom Brady that, 45 seconds isn't enough for you to take a team down to get a game-winning field goal. I'm afraid you're going to throw an interception, so you're not allowed to call a timeout. Until he stops making decisions like that, which we won't be able to evaluate till in season, then all we have to go on is what we've seen. And It's been bad game management, bad accountability, and a lot of losing. Yeah, and I think overall, too, in the NFC, and it kind of speaks to Jeremy's point right here, that there's only two scary teams. And I think I can already forecast this already. I think the only two teams that, in my opinion, have an ability to get to the Super Bowl in the NFC are the two teams that played for it last year, and that's Philly and San Francisco. I just don't – the NFC, like, who's the second best quarterback in the NFC? I don't know. I have no idea who it is. Like, I think all these teams in the NFC, save the bottom, some of the bottom dwellers like Arizona, I think every other team, there's not much differentiating them at all. Yeah. So it's completely wide open for who's going to get the playoff spots 3 to 7. Because I just think Philly and San Francisco, and given their off seasons, especially Philly, probably going to be even better next year. Heavy favorite. Yeah, I agree. Which leaves it wide open. Yeah, that means it leaves it. What we're saying is it's wide open, and you got a team that has 11 Pro Bowlers on it, not all over the hill, not even close. And you're forecasting that they're the second worst team in the NFC, second worst team in the league. It doesn't jive for me. To me, that's a whole Tom Brady bias going the other way. Yeah. And again, so I'd say the biggest things that I'm worried about this season are the head coach and the offensive coordinator. I think, the part of the roster doesn't bother me. I think they have plenty of talent on this team to certainly win this division. And in a wide open, if they were in the AFC, I'd say no, there's too many good quarterbacks in that league. You're not making, but in the NFC, to your point, it's wide open. And you want to say this is going to be a really, really bad football team. Well, that means that they're going to, quit on the coach. They're going to quit on everybody. I don't see that. The leadership on this team tells me that's not going to happen. Yeah. Ryan Jensen ain't going to let that happen. Levante David ain't going to let that happen. And Mike Evans ain't going to let that happen. The leaders on this team, are not going to let that happen. I just don't see it.
No, and I do see regression coming for some other teams in the NFC as well. I mean, the Bucs, everybody thinks they're going to regress. That's fine, whatever. But the other teams, like I think Green Bay clearly is going to regress.
Oh, yes.
Yes. No doubt about that. I had the list right here. I think Minnesota, who really got by last year winning a bunch of one-score games, I don't think
ridiculous amount.
I think that's going to regression to the mean there. They're going to underachieve. I think Seattle is a prime candidate to take a step back. I think the Giants are a prime candidate to take a step back. Yep. Does Detroit, is this the year they finally get over the hump? Until they do it, they haven't done it. And then Dallas is always just kind of there, I guess, for me. But I feel like they're still lacking something. So, again, it's wide open in the NFC right now. So, I don't think until we see these teams play, I just don't think there's really – it's not fair to almost map out where these teams are going to be at by the time we get to the end of the season because there's just so much of them that's so much alike right now.
Yeah, and, I think the quarterback thing is going to be just fun to watch. I think Baker Mayfield's got some stuff in him. I think Kyle Trask is not going away. I think both of these guys got something to bring to the table, and I just sense that this could be something fun to watch. And I sense it more with Baker Mayfield than I do Kyle Trask because I've seen Baker do it in the NFL, and I've seen him play well, and I've seen him lead a team to a playoff win that hadn't had a playoff win in forever. So there's something there. People that just think he's trash. Go look at the games that he played with the Rams. I mean, 2 games in, he's leading 2 fourth-quarter drives for a game winners, and then
playing with nobody.
Yeah, and then throwing 5 touchdown passes the next week. I mean, to say he's complete trash, I don't get it.
The last time he was fully healthy and had a fully healthy offseason was 2020. And those first 3 years at Baker Mayfield, he played really well. And then 2021, he probably had no business being out there.
No, none.
For half of that season, playing with he had like a torn labrum or something.
Yep.
I mean, all credit to him for fighting through it. I like that. But that definitely turned into his performance. And then an awful franchise just decides they want to go give $250 million guaranteed to Massage Boy, Deshaun Watson. I mean, I think he kind of got dealt a little bit of a bad hand there, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
And then he walks into a completely dysfunctional situation in Carolina with Matt Rule, he's just not an NFL head coach.
It's completely over his skis.
Completely over his skis, and they gave up on him after 5 games and just went out and released him. I think the way that he's carried himself since the Bucs have signed him, I mean, he's out in the community doing things. I love seeing that out of my quarterback. I think the way he carried himself in the first press conference, I think you were even kind of like, okay, you showed me something, Baker. You've definitely matured.
Yep.
You've changed a little bit. You're in a different position now that this is really kind of like your last shot, essentially, in the NFL. So there's something for him to play for. I mean, I'm not under – I know you think that he could win a Super Bowl potentially. You don't know. But I don't think it's to that extent. But, again, I'm talking about, can this team be better than last year? Can this team win 9 games with Baker Mayfield? And I think the answer to that is yes. I think they can. And that may be all that it takes.
Yeah, and when we sit here in the offseason, coming off a season like that, I know, people think that it's heresy to say this stuff, but look, every year there's 6 new. I mean, there's half the playoff teams are new. Every year somebody gets off the mat and we go, wow, look at Seattle. We thought they were the second worst team. Here they are in the playoffs. Here they found a quarterback. It happens every season. I think the Bears might be one of those teams next year with Justin Fields. I was watching Dan Orlovsky do some projections as far as quarterbacks go, and he's got Justin Fields making a big jump. He thinks Sam Howell can do something in Washington because he's got some.
I can buy that.
Some ability. I can buy that too. So I think we're in a very interesting place in this league as far as quarterback goes right now. It's a complete transition. I mean, it's been undergoing this for, I think, 5 years, maybe since, Lamar has come along, but even before that a little bit with Cam Newton, we've seen that the game is changing, and I think for the better. It's a much more mobile quarterback league, and there's action all over the field. You're using the whole field, whereas you didn't really do that in a lot of different ways. And defenses are having to adjust to become more athletic and lighter, and I think the Bucs are doing that, with the first round pick of Kancey. So the game is changing, and I think it's changing towards quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield. And Trask, again, underrated athletically. When you go and we see that everybody's talking about he's lighter on his feet. He's worked on this. He can do. I asked Dave Canales about that. Can he do the requisite things that you're looking for? Because he says quarterback mobility, quarterback run's a big part of his offense. Is Trask that guy? And he says yes. He's got enough athleticism. Of course, he's going to say that, but I think it's true. I think it's true that we had Dave Archer come on this show. He did Trask last game in Florida and said he thinks he's an underrated athlete, that he can move, he could run for first downs when he's got an opportunity. Did Brady do that more than twice last year? It's a staple of the game now. So yeah, I think everybody, most of these national writers are missing the boat on the Bucs, and maybe I'm a homer, maybe Booger's right. They're tanking, but I don't see the evidence. I don't see it.
No,
I don't see it. All right, let's take a break. I'm going to come back and hit a couple. There's really interesting, believe it or not, there's some interesting storylines in the NBA playoffs, some really good ones. We'll talk some NHL as well as the Panthers again in overtime over in Toronto. I just love what's going on there. So quick break. We'll be back, brought to you by American Mortgage Services and the Golden Diamond Source.
Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Hey guys, JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. There is no better place to shop for jewelry than the Gold and Diamond Source. We know that. They are the family jewelers, and they will treat you like family. It's always a fun experience. Just head on over there. You will not find a better selection anywhere in the world. It's a jewelry super center. They've got engagement rings, necklaces, earrings, pendants, chains, and thousands of diamonds to choose from. They're all right there. They don't have to ship anything in. They have jewelry for every price range as well. Guys, if you're looking for some of those baller watches, they have a great selection. They have new and used. You can get some great collectibles there as well. And if you're looking for some more affordable gold and diamond jewelry, you have to check out the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Emily created this collection for people who want to wear and stack elaborate jewelry but don't want to pay the big ticket prices. You got to check this stuff out. The Golden Diamond Source has plenty of options to accommodate any budget, interest-free financing for up to 5 years, and a layaway program, 20% down and only 6 monthly payments. And this month only, get up to 15% off the March birthstone, which is aquamarine. Like we always say, keep it local, folks. The Golden Diamond Source, Julie and Steve Weintraub, such great philanthropic benefactors. So let's keep it all local here when we have the opportunity, right? It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show on this Monday as the Rays walk it off against the Yankees. That was freaking fun. And now they're on the road to play the second-place team in the AL East, the surprising Baltimore Orioles. So I look forward to that. Who's on the bump tonight, Nick?
We got McClanahan on the mound.
That's right. That's what I thought.
It goes, McClanahan, Eflin, and then Chirino. So they got 3 big ones coming up here.
All right, we'll see what happens. I'm interested to see what this plucky Orioles team looks like. It's appointment television now, but there's so much good going on with the playoffs and hockey and NBA. So I want to get into that. I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but Nikola Jokic pushed the Suns owner. It's weird because that's what we're saying. What we should be saying is the Suns owner grabbed the basketball from Nikola Jokic and he got it back. I mean, what the hell was – and if you haven't seen the video of this, the new owner of the Suns, Matt Ishbia, I'm getting Ishbia, the ball goes out of bounds, and he grabs it, and he holds it like a football. He clutches it like this, and Jokic is trying to keep the game going, so he reaches in to get it back, and they're tussling for the ball. I've never seen that from a fan. Have you? Have you ever seen a fan do that, ever?
No, and I like how Jokic called him a fan. He's like, a fan was trying to touch me, even though it's the owner. What? You're the owner of the team. What are you doing?
I don't even think if Jokic knows that's the owner because he hasn't been the owner very long.
Probably not, but still, get out of the way.
What are you doing? And they're actually talking about could he get suspended? Oh, my God. If the NBA were to suspend Jokic for this, it would be like your league's already ridiculous in so many ways, but your league is ridiculous in so many ways. You cannot. Draymond shouldn't have been suspended in the playoffs when every game is so important in these series. And it turned out not to actually helped out the Warriors, I think. And then there's no way. For him even getting a technical for this, to me, is offensive. I don't know about you. What do you think?
I agree with Jokic. He said that, the league says they want to protect the players, and that's what they're supposed to do. And then you allow this stuff to go on, and you're giving him a technical. Like in a heated playoff game where a guy who he thinks is just a fan is ripping the ball out of his hands.
Yeah.
What do you want him to do? Just stand back and say, oh, yeah, just have the ball. Go right ahead. No, there's a lot of intensity in a playoff game. And again, these people that sit up there in these offices with suits clearly don't understand it. So it would be an absolute miss of all misses if the NBA were to suspend Nikola Jokic. I mean, you're just watering down your playoff series if you do that. The overall team there.
You're just handing them an L or a dub for the other team, as it were in this case. And I think, also the way he's playing, by the way, he's just dominating the series. But I will say this, you said the bench of the Suns is awful, and we both agree on that. But there's no way that Durant and Booker can carry this team to a series win. But damned if they're not scoring more points as a duo in 2 straight games than any 2 in the history of NBA basketball. That's saying something.
They're doing the best they can, and yesterday they got helped out. Landry Shamet scored 19 points off the bench and went 5 for 8 from 3. So they got a big lift from him. Their bench, actually, that was the best game they've played by far in the playoffs, their bench. They really didn't get much from their 3 other starters who combined for like 15 points or something like that. So can the Suns sustain that? All that being said, they got out with a 5-point victory, and they still gave up 124 points. I just don't think they can stop anybody. I don't think you're getting that from their bench. Booker has to be superhero night in and night out, and he has been. He has been, to his credit. But I still think there's an expiration somewhere with these Suns, and I still think it's going to be in this series, even though they've gotten it back to 2-2.
Yeah, but a good series nonetheless. And then the Sixers and Celtics, I don't know if I watched the end of that game and I watched the highlights. James Harden has been superhuman in 2 games and just awful in the other 2. So I don't know where he's at. I know Doc Rivers sent him a gospel song, which got him going. He's like, it's a 7-minute song. I listened to the whole thing. I'm like, really? That's amazing. But it got him going for whatever reason. And he's James Harden again. But can he sustain it? I don't think he can, especially when Jason Tatum is guarding him. He's shooting like 35%. If Tatum doesn't get it early, or Jaylen Brown, if he doesn't get an early foul, he probably, Harden doesn't go off. But whatever. I just don't see the Celtics as bad and they're just so bad at the end of the game. They don't even get a shot off. They started the last possession with like 12 seconds or whatever. They're just walking the ball up the floor. They don't get into their offense until 6 seconds are left in the 5 or 6 seconds are left. And by the time they kick it out for the 3, which Marcus Smart made, it's too late. Their end of game has been absolutely terrible. And again, everybody wants to blame the coach. Again, they got every look that they wanted. They're executing. They don't need a timeout. They know what play they're going to call. I give the coach credit. They don't need a timeout. They're getting good looks, but not in time. I don't know. I just think the players got to step up. The players got to be better in that situation. I'm not blaming the coach. What's your take on it?
I just don't trust. Boston, to me, at the end of the game there where it was tied and, they had 12 seconds and they could have called a timeout and they decided not to. And it ends up being a Marcus Smart who got a really good look at it and missed it and they had to go to overtime. Just felt like to me, like they just don't have any confidence to call up a good play to get somebody open like that. And they rather would have just gone in the run of play. But my thing with Boston and my thing with Philly, it's so perfect they're playing each other in this series. I don't trust either of them right now. I really don't. I think they're both flawed in their own ways. The thing you said about James Harden is he's the Anthony Davis of guards as far as I'm concerned. It's like one night he's all in, one night he's just kind of taking a shift, And Embiid yesterday, I think the Celtics found something there a little bit. Horford I thought he got into Embiid's head there at the end of the game. And I know he scored 34 or whatever, but I think the box score might have inflated his performance yesterday a little bit because I thought the Celtics found something with Al Horford. So I think this series is probably going to go 7 just because I think they're going to take turns of who's going to take a night off and who's going to be on from any given basis in that series.
A huge game tonight for the Warriors. They're down 2-1. Lakers at home. Let's see what happens there. Miami Heat, the same situation. They're up 2-1 against the Knicks. So we'll see what happens there. But good playoffs in the NBA. I think a lot of good storylines, and the end of games have been really, really good.
Yep.
All right, so over to hockey. And wasn't it just so sad to see Toronto lose in overtime to Florida again? Oh,
with a tear in my eye.
I mean, maybe they celebrated that first round win too much. I mean, a lot of those Toronto fans that were in my DMs and stuff. I mean, I think they're still drunk, and maybe their team is too. That's too bad. I feel terrible for them.
It's so sad, man. It really is. The birthplace of hockey.
Oh,
just hate to see them go down. It's like they conquer one Florida beast and the other one just got to come in and take it right out of them. They won their first playoff series in 19 years, 8 days ago. And 8 days later, they're down 3-0, facing elimination. The Stars are nowhere.
No to the last seed, Florida.
No puck luck to the last seed. Oh,
this is terrible.
It is. It is. I think the NHL needs to redo the series. It just can't happen. Yeah. This just can't happen. Surely we can't have a Florida. And what if Carolina gets out? We can't have a Florida-Carolina Eastern Conference final.
Are we now saying, though, how do we lose to these guys? How do we lose to these guys?
I will forever ask myself that. And somehow Toronto has played even worse in this series.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lightning.
Yeah. I mean, the Lightning were so much better. It's just puck luck. It's just puck luck. That's all there is to it. And eventually in the NHL, sometimes that gets you.
But they have no intensity. They didn't play that game at all. Like, they really had to win that game. Like, and that's the same thing they did in the Lightning. Like, they showed intensity, and give them credit, I guess, because they showed it when they really needed to in, like, the final 10 minutes of games. But you cannot get by like that in the playoffs. Teams will expose you. Like, and they're just not playing that style. They don't have any style to their game right now, which is just so odd from a team as talented as them. But, I don't really care. Knock them out, Florida. Please knock them out.
Remember when Florida's only chance to get into playoffs was if Pittsburgh lost to Chicago?
Yes.
I'm starting to think that Sydney and the boys were like, we ain't winning the cup.
Oh,
Screw this. I ain't going to the playoffs. I want to go play golf. There's no way they should have lost to the freaking Blackhawks in that situation unless they were just tanking. Like, we're good. I got my cups. I'm good. We ain't winning anything, so let's get out of here. So, Florida, you go ahead. You guys deserve it. You go ahead. And now they're on the brink of the conference finals. How about that?
What a story. The NHL playoffs. Nothing surprises me anymore. It is like the most even playing field. It doesn't matter if you're a 1 seed, an 8 seed. I mean, look at the Kraken. The Kraken knock off Colorado, and then last night in Dallas, I think they might have been home, actually. They get 7 goals.
7-2, 5 in the second.
I mean, they're playing the best goalie remaining in the playoffs, I think. Yep. And Jake Ottinger, he's not playing like it. But Seattle, if they get a lead, I mean, they've shown that they have a great ability to lock it down and score, and there's a fun vibe to them right now. So I know you're rooting for Seattle to go all the way.
Yeah, they're hard to handle at that climate deranged Coliseum. What's the name of that place?
Was that climate pledge?
Climate deranged, climate change. What is it?
It's like climate change pledge or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good for them. They went 7-2. That's the final. Wow. Now tonight we get Vegas and Edmonton. Connor McDavid and the boys. That series tied at 1.
Draisaitl has scored 12 goals, by the way, already for those keeping score.
I have to. Whenever they're on, I just watch. I just have to watch.
It's so fun.
By the way, I was watching the other night, and I got to see for some reason they showed the entire opening to the Vegas, to what they do out there in Vegas, with the night and all of it. And I'm just like, I may be just a little bit biased in our game presentation, but that's so over the top. It's so not hockey.
Everybody thinks the Lightning are over the top. I'm like, that is like a full on performance before.
It's so Vegas though. It's so Vegas, but God bless them. God bless them. It's just a little over the top in my opinion. But they moved to Edmonton tonight.
Yeah, I tell you the other thing with the NHL that it's a big night in the NHL. It's a big night. not because of the playoffs, but tonight is the draft lottery.
Oh, that's right.
And it's
Connor Bedard sweepstakes.
Who's getting Connor Bedard? And let me tell you this right now. I know what's going to happen tonight already. Connor Bedard, who was better in juniors than McDavid, okay, by the way, just for those who aren't aware. The teams that have the best odds of getting him are Anaheim,
18.5%,
Columbus, Chicago, and San Jose. So let me map that out for you right now. The NHL is not letting him go to Anaheim, Columbus, or San Jose.
Nope.
Chicago would have been perfect if not for everything that happened the last couple years. So they're not letting him get him. Guess who has the next odds after that?
You think it's Montreal? Les Habitants.
Les Habitants. The Montreal Canadiens are 100% getting Connor Bedard. Somehow, some way, it's going to happen. And you want to know why? Because it happened when McDavid was coming out. The two teams that had the highest odds to get McDavid were the Coyotes and the Sabres. And neither team got it. It ended up being Edmonton because we had to find the next Gretzky and keep it there in Edmonton and revive them. I smell fishy when I see it. Arizona ain't getting them either, by the way. I know they're down there in the odds too. This guy's going to be a Montreal Canadian by the end of the night. I can feel it.
I think we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. Yes, we are. It's starting to feel like a lot of these leagues with the horrible officiating that we're seeing all over the place, and now everybody has replay that goes back to the home office. It's getting a little ridiculous here and there, but I don't know if the NHL was doing it, they wouldn't have let Florida beat Toronto like they are. But I mean, Toronto's so bad at this point. I don't know. They can't win anything. But we'll see, and that's tonight. So with the NHL draft lottery, and also followed by the game. All right. Our thanks to Steve Carney, who joined us today. Nick Geddes, great job there. Thank you all for joining us as well. Remember to follow us on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and just Google the JP Peterson Show. Please follow us on Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. Also on Apple and Spotify as the podcast, so you'll get notified each and every day when the COP podcast drops at 12 o'clock. Just remember to listen to the best 2 hours of Tampa Bay-centric sports radio in the business. Thanks, you guys, for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.